for another short segment. And, we would be remiss to not make sure that we talk about the life of the incredible Tupac Shakur, man. What's going on with you, Coop?
I don't know. He would have been 50 today. I guess that's what's going on with me right now. I've actually,
Yeah.
I guess, in the last couple minutes, while we've been waiting to go online, I've been thinking about the songs that impacted me the most by him,
Hmm.
the songs that I thought were his best songs. And I actually started thinking about something contextualizing like who he is in black culture too a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you have those artists that and groups where you could say one or two songs really depict who they are from top to bottom. It's
yeah,
really tough to do with Pac because he was so honest through and through. And everybody coming into the room, let us know what some of your favorite Tupac songs are too. Personally, I mean, it changes a lot because he's one of those people whose music has grown with me over time. Like I
right.
liked him when he came out when it was all happening. I was a kid, but when you get older and older, you feel those songs different. You feel them more. I've always liked straight balling, but again, that's hard to say that only God can judge me is another one. It's one of my favorites. I've always liked Temptation. I've always liked Shed So Many Tears.
Me too.
Um, and of course, I think if you have one that's a Hallmark record, I would say Keep Your Head Up. Although I think Dear Mama is one of the greatest hip hop records ever made. Got some people in the chat, want to get to some of theirs. They say Tupac's the GOAT. Jonathan Delfino said he met him in August. He was the man. I'm not in August. I'm sorry. He met him in Boston. He was the man. August. And all right, J-Bo Black says changes. We got a Dear Mama here. We got a So Many Tears here. We got a Brenda's Got a Baby here, and that's just people coming in the room. All these different records, man. What about you?
Um, for me personally, I think So Many Tears is the record
Mm.
that I probably love the most and feel the most. Um, I'm with you, Mike, and with most other people. Dear Mama is one of the few rap songs that I've heard that's in a small conversation of rap songs as greatest rap song ever made. As in Fight the Power, I'll Be There for You, One More Chance remix, Nothing But a G thing. Like Dear Mama is one of those records. It's in a conversation. It's one of the best rap songs ever made. Period. But
Mm-hmm.
specifically when I think about that record, I mean, and I just and I don't want to be one of those get off my lawn guys in a moment like this, but a
Mm-hmm.
record like that just shows the lack of depth in the rap game today.
It does. It does.
But
I
that's
mean,
what I
because
mean by
that was from a young
contextualizing
man
too.
at the time. What he was like, 23 years old,
Probably 21, 22 when he wrote it, Mike.
probably. Um, are you of the mindset that Me Against the World is his best album?
No, All Eyes on Me Volume 1 is his best album, but the Tupac that I love is On Me Against the World.
Yeah, I was always one of those people thinking that, I guess it's hard to get away from the production value of All Eyes on Me and everything that came with it. And like you were talking about earlier, just creatively, coming out of jail. And he admitted in that one interview, I love that interview that he did when he was, what was he, on Rockets, right? Um, when he was locked up.
The
You know what I'm
Vibe,
talking
the
about?
Vibe interview?
Hmm?
The Vibe interview?
Not the Vibe interview. It was I forgot the journalist's name. It skips me right now. But when he had the kid in the background. Anyway, it was very raw and honest, and he was, they asked him if he was in jail cooking up a whole bunch of raps and all that. He was like, it's the opposite, man. Like when you're in here, there's no inspiration. Like you don't even want to write. Like he said he was writing some plays, but as far as music, he's like he was uninspired. There's nothing. He's like jail is not the place to be. Like prison is not popping. And he was like, people were thinking that he was in there writing, getting all this stuff done. It's like I can't write in here. So all that stuff that he put together for that double disc was either a lot of things he had stockpiled or something that he just went ahead and just knocked out when he got out. And that makes All Eyes on Me even more impressive. But I agree with you. The Tupac that we know and love is all on that Me Against the World. And I think that is probably his most personal record. And I think for a lot of people, and shit, as time goes on, I might think it is his best record because it's so personal.
If you tell me that, I'm not gonna argue with you. It's probably the most personal rap album I've ever heard. If we're just talking about somebody explaining the depths of themselves as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
as an MC, I don't think anybody's ever been more vulnerable and powerful at the same time
Right.
in the spirit of hip hop. And I mean, specifically, I mean, Mike, let's listen to I mean, Mike, Temptations, Dear Mama, and So Many Tears were the singles.
Yes. Thanks for helping me out in the chat room too. They say he was in Clinton Correctional for that interview. Yes, that's the interview I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Again, like you said, those were the singles. Those were personal, and it's kind of like
I
when
mean,
people
that's real, real personal for singles, you know?
right. It's kind of like when you froze up for a second. I'm gonna hit you right back on here. So let me get to some of y'all comments too. Let me get to some of their comments too, man. We got Holla If You Hear Me, of course. Oh man, yeah, Me Against the World is the best to me. Um,
Pour out a little liquor,
Pour Out a Little Liquor. Pain is one of my favorites too.
pain.
They got left
Like,
off the above the
no
rim.
more pain.
No More Pain. That yeah,
Ambitions as a rider. Picture me rolling. I ain't
yeah.
mad at you.
But what I was gonna say before you got cut off, man, is
Keep going.
the fact that yeah, we could keep going. The fact that I feel like Dear Mama is kind of an X factor too on Me Against the World. When you talk about Me Against the World and All Eyes on Me, there's not a Dear Mama on All Eyes on Me. It's not.
It's not. So that's why I said if you want to, okay, so how about this? It's just here's how I feel about it. It's like I feel much about Me Against the World versus All Eyes on Me as I do against with the College Dropout versus Late Registration. It's like, oh well, the production and the rhymes are better on Late Registration, but if you want to talk about that feeling, well then the College Dropout. You know, and it's the same thing with Me Against the World versus All Eyes on Me. Pocket's a superior MC on All Eyes on Me, and the production is vastly superior.
Oh yeah, definitely. No,
And
that no question.
let's not discount this too. For as great as Me Against the World is, All Eyes on Me still has more classic records on it. And I also want to go to something else when I say this. It's like this is what I mean. I noticed something when I really thought about it. He made so many epic rap songs in such a short amount of time. Like it's not just like these aren't regular like big records. These are like the type of records that have stayed the course of time, like 25 years
Yeah,
postpartum.
yeah, yeah. He passed. He was murdered at 25, and he would have been 50 today. And that kind of gets me to my next point. What do you think Tupac would have been at 50? Do you think he still be making music in a way that Scarface does, or that Nas and Jay do? Or do you think that maybe he would have bowed out of the music thing around the early 2000s? Like, what do you think a continued Tupac career looks like?
Mike, I don't know. I just know he's the only one that was ever really bigger than rap. And so he would have been the one out of all these guys who are considered to be the greatest MCs of all time. He is truly the one guy that probably would have stepped away and been just as great at something else. He could have been the leader of our people.
I think that acting could have been a big thing for him.
See, I
Um,
think acting could have been a segue into something else. So I think when you're talking about him at 50, it's like look at him at 25 being murdered and what his career and catalog already looked like. He's somebody that feasibly could have retired at 30, acted for 10 to 15 years, and then became a politician, possibly, or started his own, NGO. You get what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
we really don't know. Like he could have been so many things.
I wouldn't want to see Pac in politics.
I mean, Mike, you say that, but Mike, to be honest with you, one of the best things about him and one of the drawing points to him was his political activism and activist nature and ability to articulate and be informative about politics and explain it to black people in a way that they can comprehend.
I've always been of the mindset that, it seems that historically, blacks in America that have not officially become a part of the political process have been able to get a lot more done. I mean, Dr. King didn't run for anything. He was the leader of the people. He didn't take any elected office, and you could say that he got more done for black people than any black politician to ever do it.
Well,
Um,
well, Mike, that's what I'm saying though. That's why I said he could have been the leader of the people and involved in politics. Like whether you want to say that or not, like Mike, having the actual job of a politician doesn't mean that you're not a politician. Understand, Dr. King was already playing a certain game. Like he was a politician. Don't think because he didn't have a salary and get taxed that it said so that Dr. King wasn't a politician.
so
He
you
had to
mean in
work with the
politics as far as not even holding elected office?
yeah,
Politics.
yeah. See,
Okay,
that's
I
what I
got
mean.
you.
It's like he could have been a leader of our people. That's what I mean. It could have been an NGO, a non-governmental organization that he could have been leading, but that would have had some sort of political ties and activism to it, an initiative.
I think I don't know. I saw his career possibly going towards maybe like a Ice Cube esque route. I mean, is that fair to say? Like I said, just
Oh,
juggling political activism, juggling that with music and film. I know that Cube made film more of a center of his universe, which I think was a great, move for him. But I could kind of see Pac doing a similar thing. The
you want to
movies
know
he
what
were
I would
in weren't
submit?
small.
You know what I would submit to you that I actually just thought about when you said it. Like Cube is more of a boss. Pac is more of a leader. It would have been nice if they would have gotten together. Pac could have used somebody like Cube in his corner that had the business frame of mind that Cube had in the vision.
Yeah.
Because Pac's gift is the inspiration and the motivation of the people. Having a boss like Cube, like they could have done some like legendary things together. Because just look at what
Mm.
Cube's done for our community. I mean, we both love Ice Cube, Mike, and it's not just because he's one of the greatest MCs of all time.
Yeah, yeah. And Cube, like you said, Cube is a boss. He understands
He's the boss.
business and he understands ownership. And he's not out here flaunting it around or whatever. He just does it.
That's what I'm saying. And Cube
Yeah.
became a boss early. Like Cube was a boss like 2021. He understood things that Pac didn't even probably understand business wise at 23, 24, or he wouldn't have signed to Death Row.
I really think that those two would have ended up, on the same page.
You
I
know,
think.
Pac looked up to Cube because
Hmm.
Pac put his album on hold about how tough Cube was, like on the West Coast at the time, like Digital Underground, and everybody was telling him like you can't drop right now, like Cube's the man, like you can't, ain't no ends right now for you.
They're very, very similar in their approach. I always felt like, you have those type of artists who just kind of approach their message head on. I think that Cube's one of those, Pac's one of those, Chuck D's one of those. I think even Scarface to a degree is one of those too.
Those
And
are the guys.
those guys hit
Those
different.
guys specifically, they hit different. Yeah,
Yeah.
it hit different when they speak to you.
And I really do think that, through the relationship with Chuck D in particular, I could see Tupac and Ice Cube getting on the same page, whether
So
it be through film or music. But I think it probably would have ended up being through film. I think Pac had a way to extend his reach and his message through his gift in film. You know how things come full circle and all that, and that's where he started. And I really think that's probably where he would be chiefly.
okay, so here's what I mean when I say like Cube is a boss and Pac could have used somebody like him in his corner. Like Cube in a way could have been for Pac and whatever Pac wanted to do, whether it was political or not, kind of what Oprah was for Obama. Like that cosign from somebody within your community that makes everybody else in the community on a business level go, oh, okay, yeah,
You
that's
know,
what I mean.
one thing I did realize from Tupac's Clinton Correctional Facility interview, excuse me, was he was really appreciative to Interscope, and he said Interscope had done him right the whole time. Like they were looking out, they asked him, because this is while Me Against the World was out there. They were asking him to pick the singles, and I know you said that the singles were deep and more personable on that album. And obviously, Interscope's a subsidiary of Death Row, vice versa. I don't know how that would have continued to conspire with the fact that Tupac and Dre really weren't seeing eye to eye too much, and Dr. Dre is Interscope.
I mean, I
So
mean, you understand he was such a powerful speaker when he spoke that I mean, like that's what I'm saying. He's somebody that at probably 30 years old, had he lived that long, could have went around on black college campuses and get paid to tell his story. Like he
yeah,
could have become a public speaker or a figure of that nature. His story is that impactful and powerful, and so was the person. So was his actual speaking voice and the words coming out of his mouth.
yeah, and he
Had it
spoke it.
all, Mike.
He
He had
spoke
it
it in a
all.
way where everyone could relate to it. He wasn't talking over people's heads,
No. And
and
and also can I say this too? Because I know we
mhm,
talked about it behind the scenes. As an MC, he was somebody that was trending towards, like when people say he's the GOAT, well, he was somebody that was an MC that was trending towards deserving that title because Pac was always everybody's favorite rapper, but nobody ever really thought Pac was the best rapper. He was your favorite rapper. He was the dude you related to the most and loved the most. But I told you why that was, Mike. He came along in the time where guys rap different. People forget Pac's favorite rapper growing up was Chuck D.
yeah,
So his style and patternization of rhymes is something that's more from 86, 87, 88. And so when
yeah,
he's coming out in 90, 91 and stuff, yeah, he doesn't sound like Nas or Big or Jay lyrically on the mic. They literally are coming a few years after him. But what you will find is them coming into the game and getting some of the notoriety that they got his MCs. That made him up his game as an MC. The MC that you hear on All Eyes on Me and Machiavelli is superior, and it's because of the competition. He liked Nas, he liked Big, he liked Jay. He's ahead.
what do you mean? He liked them as fans
Artists,
of
as
the music, as
MCs.
he
Yeah,
might not have liked them personally, but that's a
yeah,
whole
he liked
nother
them
story.
personally, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the dudes from the Outlaws was even talking about how like Pac like was listening to like it was written. He was like, no, this nigga Nas is spitting on here. Like,
Oh yeah.
he can't stand him, but he's like, no, this nigga can rhyme his ass off. Like,
Yeah, you can't deny great music. I think that was he like the first, let's just say, like huge free agent pickup when he went
he
to Death Row, even though that was still somewhat in a scope, but I don't think we had seen that before, right?
he's such a transitional figure. That's why I'm bringing him up in the time frame that I'm bringing him up. He precedes Nas, J, and Big, but he's after Chuck D, Scarface, and Ice Cube. He's the guy in the middle. He's the transitional figure. He's the most impactful figure too. So he comes in a very important place in space and time. I'm just saying in terms of the craft of MC, and people always talked about, well, he's not as dope on the mic. Oh no, that dude on All Eyes on Me and Ambitions as a rider, like from the first verse, like no, that dude's nice on the mic now.
Well, I mean, I think that it's a gift when you can make people feel you to that degree. Anyway, that alone, it to me is lyrical skills
See,
and
that's
your
what I'm saying
abilities
though.
as an MC. Like just being able to put words together that sound good.
So
It's
what
yeah. Go
So
ahead.
when I'm saying he was really trending towards that, is that he walked what you're talking about, the ability to make you feel. First of all, nobody's ever had it like he's had it in this game, and he walked in the game with that. So when you walk in the game with something like that, that's special that nobody else got, and can't nobody tap that level that you can tap into, that's already something different. That's why he's in the place and space that he's in. What I'm trying to say is, had this guy lived, he was becoming an MC, the caliber of the guys that couldn't provide that feeling. That's a frightening thought, Mike. That's why All Eyes on Me is so dope. It's like the guy that made Brenda's Had a Baby knows how to conceptualize that record, but
Mhm.
lyrically it's better. So you get I Ain't Mad at You.
So when Death Row picked him up in the way that they did, was that the first time that that had happened on a large level in hip hop? I'm trying to think.
Absolutely, Mike. I mean,
Yeah.
and you want to know, I thought about something when you were talking about the interview about how he didn't write rhymes. I'm thinking about some of the verses on All Eyes on Me. Mike, they're so raw and so passionate. Specifically, listen to the first verse on Ambitions as a Rider in California Love. Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Soon as I step on the scene, I'm hearing Gucci screaming, fiending for money and alcohol. Like he couldn't have wrote that in prison, Mike. Listen to
Mm-mm.
the bar. Listen to the bars.
I don't think he wrote much, if any, of that album in prison.
Yeah,
And
like
it
listen to what he's saying, Mike. When I hear "Ambitions of a Rider," I hear a dude that just got picked up from jail that's riding home from jail in a limo.
now
So
his
many
work
battlefield
ethic
scars.
too.
Listen what he's saying. So many battlefield scars while driven in plush cars. This life is a rap star. Like he's talking about, you know what I'm saying? He just out of jail, was born rough and rugged, addressing the mad public. My attitude is fuck it, because motherfuckers love it. Like
That
that's not
you
shit.
know, and see that kind of brings me to that next point that we were talking
Special.
about offline. I think he did those things on purpose because he knew that
Very
raw and
special.
rugged mentality was going to catch the ears of people who wouldn't normally listen to the
But,
positive
but,
stuff.
but, but Mike, but that's what I mean when I talk about, no, you're right about that. But I'm also saying, Mike, he's the one guy that's special enough to make you believe it every time he spit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because people try to make him the face of contradictory. I don't believe that he is, in my opinion, but I do think if you listen to hip hop long enough, how do I say this respectfully? You can't believe anything any rapper says. I mean, you can't believe everything any rapper says. I mean to say it that way. So I don't understand why he's such a figure of hypocrisy. This is entertainment, and he
No, I mean,
showed you
see,
that.
okay, so for me, hypocrisy and contradictory are two different
Okay,
elements.
contradictory.
Okay, so yeah, so I don't think Pac is a hypocrite. I told you, for me, Mike, he's the logo because when I look at black men born in tenuous circumstances in inner city environments that are impoverished under the age of 25, his rhetoric and behavior and the back and forth of some of the rhetoric and the behavior speaks to that environment.
Yeah,
And so he's an appropriate figure to speak on these matters. It's like I always tell people, it's like if you want to know who Tupac really is, understand that keep your head up and I get around are on the same damn album. He's both of those people.
yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
You got life goes on, and you got how do you want it. And it's funny.
Right.
How do you want it's all over the place.
Mike, but it's a classic song. That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Mike. But it's a classic song. Is that not a classic?
No, it is. But it's amazing that he was able to do so much at such a
And
young
you know
age.
what else?
Go ahead.
I didn't realize how much like stadium type pop music he had made while he was making it. Mike, when I listen to these records now, that they're epic. California Love is epic. How You Want It is epic.
Yeah.
Like stadium flow, Mike.
No, definitely. A lot of people say he's the goat. I think it is. I mean, undeniable that he's probably the most impactful hip hop artist of all time, right? Hmm. Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh, I'm not in my head, Mike.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah, like
My
I'm
bad.
not
I
even
missed you. I was looking at
like
the
I
camera.
don't want to hear no Kanye. Like I don't want like I don't even want to hear Rakim or Big about that. Like nah. Like
Impact.
it's
Okay.
Pac.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, Pac impacted the game. He impacted. Hold on one second. He impacted the game. He impacted other MCs.
Right.
Like he impacted the crop of MCs. All of that.
So where does he? I mean, it's tough to even fit him anywhere all time. What do you think? Where do you think is like justifiable places in that discussion? Just leave him off altogether, because it doesn't seem like anybody's going to be able to surpass that level of impact
So
or anything like that.
so when we discuss it, we usually discuss impact, catalog, and MC ability, right?
Right.
That's why I keep bringing up how he was rapping on All Eyes on Me and Machiavelli, because I mean, if we're talking impact, okay, so he's number one. He's got that in the bag. If we're talking about catalog, he's got a couple of classics, so he's in the conversation. Because I think everybody that's on our top 10 MC list between me and you, Mike, almost all those guys have two classics, right?
Yeah, definitely. They got
So
to.
that puts him in that conversation, and so I think the only thing left was the MC ability, and I think what exists on All Eyes on Me. and on Machiavelli is a really, really dope top 10 MC. And so in that sphere, I think he was trending towards being verifiably so, like where you could check the boxes, a top 10 all-time MC.
Mm-hmm.
Like checking the boxes as an MC in that regard, because his impact is what kind of put him in that conversation. And what I'm saying is that he was building out a catalog and a skill level that was speaking to that. So he was going to end up in the top five regardless, in my estimation. Like
Who would you
outside
have
of
liked to have
Kendrick.
seen Tupac work with that he didn't get a chance to work with, either artist or producer,
Hmm,
or both?
that's an interesting question.
I would like to hear him over some Premiere. What do you think?
I don't know if Primo would have been where I would have gone with it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Pac, it was so funny to hear Pac over great production, stellar production so late. I would have preferred to hear him more of what he was doing on All Eyes on Me, Volume 1, quite frankly. Mike, I was totally cool with him, like working with Daz and Quick and Dre. He wasn't doing it like that before anyway. I was cool with him doing like that. Wasn't cool with that, Mike?
No, I was
Daz,
cool with it.
Daz
I'm
Dre,
just
that's
saying,
cool with
like,
me.
no, I was cool with it. I'm just saying, like, on some fantasy stuff where it's like, we didn't get a chance to see. Like, I would love to have heard Biggie rhyme over a Dr. Dre track, or a Just Blaze a Kanye track, or a Neptune track.
I probably would have preferred to hear him over RZA, to be honest with you, over
RZA,
Primo,
interesting.
because it would have been challenging for
Do you think we would have gotten a Tupac and DMX
him.
record?
And no,
Okay.
no, them personalities wouldn't have fit in their room at their peak. So no,
Anybody on the East Coast you think it would have happened with Nas, or maybe
Mike,
somebody?
he had East Coast ties, Mike. I mean, he was working with some East Coast cats and stuff. I mean, that's why I was talking about the RZA thing too. He
Yeah.
obviously had enough of a relationship that he took a piece of meth hook, song, and made it into a hook, and he got Meth and Red on the album. That's why it's like, no, I would have liked to see him with RZA because he was obviously a Wu-Tang fan.
I say this respectfully, and I was just listening to All Eyes on Me the other day. I think the Method Man's verse on that album might be the best verse on that album. That,
Yeah.
huh?
No, it's not better than Pac's first verse on I Ain't Mad at You. It's not better than Pac's first verse on Ambitions as a Rider. It's not better than that second verse on No More Pain. No.
Hmm. You know what? I'm with you on the I Ain't Mad at Your verse. I
Yeah.
figured you were gonna say the Ambitions of a Rider verse.
I love that verse,
But
Mike.
on
Mike.
some rapidy rap shit, man, Method Man took it there, man. That,
No, I get what you're saying, Mike,
yeah,
but like that start, Mike. I told you, Mike, that's the best start off to an album to me, like verse wise, like that New York State of Mind. Like that's how much I think that verse on Ambitions of a, like he set it up, Mike. You knew what you was about to get, and what you was about to get was something epic. Like it was brilliant. It was beautiful. That's what I'm talking about the impact. See, you talking about Method's verse? Nah, man, but like Meth's verse isn't touching the impact of that first verse on Ambitions as a Rider.
yeah.
And lyrically, that verse is on point. That's what I'm saying. It's like if Pac is gonna be lyrically on point. Oh, ain't nobody fucking with him, Mike.
But see,
Because
that's the epitome of what he was as an MC.
impact wise, he's gonna take your shine.
But see, that was the epitome of what he was as an MC, is the fact that everybody knew every word of that record. You know what I'm saying? Of that verse. People could repeat Tupac's lyrics, and mix, you know what I mean? Like, people who aren't even out here trying to memorize verses. And I think that's what he planned on. That's how he wanted to compose his music. Everybody has an intention,
No, Mike,
and I don't think his
that's not
intention was
how
to
he
be
wanted to
rapidy rap.
compose his music, Mike. People forget this. Pac is really was really a poet first, so
Right.
it's more like poetry. It really is. He's
Yeah.
a poet, Mike. He just chose MC as the form to express. But Mike, even when you go look at his writings, have you ever seen how his writing looks? He don't write like a rapper normally writes on the paper. He writes the way a poet writes on the paper. Like different writing styles, you write different in different formats and genres. So Pac's raps are written like poems.
Mm. Well, you know what? We 30 minutes in. We're gonna be talking about
long as Tupac.
right, right. Happy 50th birthday to Tupac. I'm gonna go listen to some Pac right now. For anybody who isn't really on Pac like that, what are some recommendations you would give them that are like some must needed Tupac listens? Like to really get into who Tupac is and was as an artist, what songs would you recommend that a listener who really wasn't into Pac like that listen to first?
Are we talking song wise or album
Songs,
wise?
songs.
Oh, song wise. So just quick 10 songs, probably. I would say "So Many Tears," "Dear Mama," "Keep Your Head Up," "Ambitions as a Rider," "I Ain't Mad at You," "Picture Me Rolling,"
Mm.
"Me and My Girlfriend," Mike, "Against All Odds."
Mm.
Those go fine. Yeah,
All right, and like that, we out, man. R.I.P. Tupac Shakur.
always.